What do we have here? The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time is my favorite video game of all time. I realize that is a statement that is beyond cliche to make at this point, but it really is true for me from the bottom of my heart. Though Ocarina of Time was the 5th Zelda installment, it was the first 3D game in the series and my first Zelda game. I first played it when I was 10 years old, having borrowed a neighbor's Nintendo 64. I was blown away from the very beginning. The game encapsulated a sense of joy, wonder, excitement, and immersion that I had never experienced in a game before. This is the game that took video games from just being a fun after-school activity for me and catapulted it into being my favorite pastime and one of my biggest passions in life. Please enjoy my review for what is, hands down, one of the finest video games ever crafted. The story is set in the mythical, magical kingdom of Hyrule. An evil man from the desert named Ganondorf is after the relic known as the Triforce, which contains the essence of the gods. The hero of the story is Link. Link is a young boy who, with the help of his fairy companion Navi, is tasked by Princess Zelda with stopping Ganondorf from getting the Triforce. Later on in the game, Link obtains the Ocarina of Time, a magical instrument, and the Master Sword. After pulling the Master Sword, Link inadvertently allows Ganondorf access into the Sacred Realm, where Ganondorf obtains the Triforce of Power. From here on, Link must travel across the land of Hyrule, freeing the sages and the cursed temples from the evil there, and ultimately traveling back and forth through time in order to confront and defeat the evil King Ganondorf. While the premise of the story is simple, it is a very fun story that does a great job of immersing you into the world of the game. You meet tons of memorable, fun, and zany characters who will stay in your memory and heart forever. From Zelda to Sheik to Talon to Ganondorf himself, the characters you meet will be unforgettable. When reviewing an old game, it's important not to judge its visuals from a modern standpoint too much. The N64 graphics are old and dated at this point, that's a given, but for the time, the visuals were groundbreaking, and they still hold up better than many other N64 titles. Still, every location in this game, and I mean everywhere you go, is incredibly thoughtfully crafted and well detailed. From the Kokiri Forest in the Lost Woods, to the Castle Town in Kakariko Village, to Death Mountain in Gerudo Valley, the whole game is wonderfully crafted. Being a AAA first-party Nintendo game, the locales were made with the utmost care. Even with the dated N64 graphics, you can still appreciate the design that went into all of the locations and even the characters themselves like Link, Zelda, Sheik, Ganondorf. The design also has lots of great contrast. For instance, you have the bright and cheerful Kokiri Forest in the medieval Castle Town, along with the darker and sinister Shadow Temple, which contrasts wonderfully with places like the Gerudo Desert, which is overrun with sandstorms. The music in this game is downright magical, with more memorable songs than you can swing the Master Sword at. The music does an amazing job of really immersing you into the world of the game. Music has always played a key element in the Zelda series, and Ocarina of Time is a game that really used its music to great effect. Music even serves as a key story and gameplay mechanic in this game, since you use your ocarina to solve puzzles, warp, and even interact with certain characters. The controls in this game are very simple and very intuitive. Literally anyone, regardless of age or skill level, can pick up, play, and have a complete and utter blast with this game. To control Link, you use the analog stick to make a move, use the B button to use Link's sword, and depending on the controller, use the yellow arrow buttons or the X, Y, and Z buttons to use Link's secondary items. This game also has an A button that is context sensitive. You use it to roll, open doors, do a backflip, and so on. Now the combat in this game is very fluid, simple, and fun. A lot of early 3D action games struggled with making combat seem fluid, but Zelda didn't have that issue because it fixed it with an automatic targeting system. You simply press the Z button and you targeted an enemy automatically. While targeting an enemy, you can press A to do the jump attack, or hold down the B button to do a spin attack. The combat in this game is simple, fluid, and fun. And even in the controls in this game are so good, they really do feel like an extension of your own hand. And even simple actions like running around in a 3D space as Link and cutting grass or chopping pots is a lot of fun and frankly a lot more addicting than it should be. The gameplay itself consists of roaming around Hyrule, meeting new characters, playing the Ocarina, and of course going into dungeons. The dungeons consist of solving puzzles, fighting enemies, getting keys, and eventually fighting off some intense bosses at the end of each dungeon. Every dungeon in this game is really fun and feels and looks unique from the others. From the belly of a giant fish, to the forest temple with its winding corridors and spooky feel, and the shadow temple with its dark and sinister environments, and the spirit temple and its Egyptian-inspired look. Every dungeon stands apart as a very fun and thoughtfully crafted level. The water temple is a dungeon that many hate. I, for one, always liked the design of the temple personally and enjoyed it, but I understand where people are coming from. All that to say, the 3DS version fixes many of those issues that people have with that temple by having a revamped menu system. Now you can just map the iron boots to your item slot, whereas in the original version you had to open up the menu every 10 seconds. My favorite dungeons in the game are probably the Forest Temple and the Shadow Temple. I love the Forest Temple for its haunting feel, clever puzzles, and its theme of hunting down 4 ghosts. I also love the boss battle at the end with Phantom Ganon, because not only do you get to play tennis with him, yeah, you heard me right, but you also have to shoot him where he's riding his horse out of a painting. Awesome. The Shadow Temple is great to me due to its very twisted and sinister design, and the re-deads and mummies that petrify you as soon as they look at you. It also has an awesome boss fight at the end of it in the form of Bongo Bongo, the Phantom Shadow Beast. The boss fights are awesome. From fighting a ghost that rides in and out of paintings, to playing whack-a-mole with a dragon, to facing off against a disembodied spirit or a pair of evil witches. The boss fights, like the dungeons themselves, each have their own look and strategies to defeat them. Even the mini-bosses have lots of personality, particularly Darkling, which is an epic fight. And the final boss battle in the game against Ganon is arguably one of the most epic and awesome bosses in video game history. Apart from the dungeons themselves, there is a lot to do outside of the dungeons that will keep you coming back. There are tons of mini-games like the shooting gallery or the Bomberchu bowling alley. You heard me right, Bomberchu bowling. Several heart pieces to collect, golden spider tokens to find. You can even ride around Hyrule Field on your blessed horse, Epona, which is fun and addicting. You can hunt down 10 ghosts that haunt Hyrule Field, and even engage in a horseback archery game, which is probably my favorite mini-game. This game also has a fishing mini-game in Lake Hylia, which is surprisingly addicting. Furthermore, this game has an optional sword in it, more powerful than even the Master Sword, known as the Begoron Sword. This sword probably does like twice as much damage as the Master Sword. And while it takes some effort to get it, it is more than worth that effort. There's nothing quite like seeing an enemy fall to your blade in agony! Ha ha ha! Ocarina of Time really is an amazing game. As for what I don't like about this game, there really isn't a whole lot.
Listen!
Navi can be a little annoying. I'll get that out of the way. And the Water Temple can arguably be frustrating. But apart from that, there really isn't a whole lot about this game that I don't like. In the grand scheme of things, this game is so epic and amazing that the slight imperfections don't feel all that detrimental. This game really has just about everything that I love about gaming in it. Near flawless controls and gameplay, beautifully crafted worlds, wonderful music, and a fun storyline with unforgettable characters. For me, this is as good as games get. I can't recommend this game highly enough. If you've never played it, this is a game that every gamer should have in their collection. If you can find it on the Nintendo 64, great. But you can also get it on the Virtual Console with the Wii U, and if you own a Nintendo 3DS, then you should definitely get Ocarina of Time 3D. Not only does it look better than ever, but this version of the game also plays and feels better than ever as well. Furthermore, this version of the game also includes some new features like the boss rush mode, optional gyroscope controls for aiming, and a revamped item system, making it the definitive version of this game. It also includes the Master Quest version after you beat the game the first time. Ocarina of Time really is a game that I believe anyone, regardless of age, can pick up, play, and enjoy. That is a point that is worth re-emphasizing again, as this game is just as entertaining now as it was back in 1998, almost 20 years ago. To those who are seasoned gamers, this game will surely be a grand slam, surefire pleaser. To those new to gaming, this game is a great introduction to the medium. Ocarina of Time is called a timeless classic, but at the end of the day, what makes it so timeless? Different people have different answers, but I have my own theory. The Legend of Zelda encapsulates a sense of joy and childlike wonder. At the same time, there is a real sense of growth. This is very literal in this game, since you travel through time as Link and become an adult. Though you also feel that sense of growth with each character you meet, every temple you conquer, and every boss battle you vanquish. More and more as you play the game, you feel more worthy of being the hero of time. This is a game that you feel the urge to go back and play over and over again. While all the Zelda games are amazing, there is unquestionably something special about this version of Hyrule that Nintendo created. Through amazing gameplay, a bountiful world, and unforgettable characters, the experience of both literally and figuratively starting your journey as a boy who becomes a man and experiencing a sense of magic and joy. I wouldn't be the gamer I am today if it weren't for this masterpiece. It's reasons like these that The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is my favorite game of all time.